Known to be the four most powerful pirates in the world of One Piece, the Yonko are said to be the rulers of the New World. Out of all the people seeking out the One Piece, they're known to be the ones closest to it. The Yonko have immeasurable strength, but that's not all. They also have a tremendous influence on the seas that they rule. They're known to hold vast territories under their absolute control, and have countless allies. Their authority is such that not even the world government dares to directly oppose any of them, which just goes to show how much of a threat they pose to the world. After One Piece's Wano Country arc, the ranks of the Yonko were reshuffled, and here are the people who currently hold this position. Buggy. Buggy is one of the latest additions to the ranks of the Yonko following the fall of the former Yonko Big Mom and Kaido. During the 2-year time skip, he rose to the position of Shichibukai, and exercised his power quite effectively. Over those 2 years, he built up quite an impressive force and allied with some of the greatest pirates in the world, such as the giant pirates, known to be some of the strongest out there. His influence in the underworld of One Piece is also immense. Through Buggy's delivery, he ran the show from behind the scenes, and despite not having any real strength, his followers are actually quite strong, as some of them are escapees from Impel Down. Furthermore, Buggy is a former member of the Roger Pirates, and he also holds connections to red-haired Shanks, who is said to be his sworn brother. All things considered, Buggy's position as one of the Yonko is completely justified. It is also likely that he has grown stronger during the time skip. However, his exact level of strength remains unknown at this point in time. Monkey D. Luffy. Luffy led the war against Yonko, Kaido and Big Mom in One Piece's Wano Country arc. After allying with Trafalgar Law on Punk Hazard, he set his eyes on Kaido, and during the war, finally accomplished what he set out to do. Although the fight initially started as one between the worst generation in the Yonko, it eventually boiled down to a one-on-one fight between Kaido and Luffy. Luffy managed to awaken the advanced usage of Conqueror's Haki and with it, match Kaido in battle. Despite that, his power proved to be slightly short of what was needed, and he ended up falling to the Yonko more than once. Finally, he then awakened his devil fruit, which was then revealed to be a mythical zone, named the Hito Hito no Mi model, Nika. With this power-up, Luffy tapped into a new transformation called Gear 5 and was able to hold his own against Kaido. His strongest attack, called Bajrang Gun, was strong enough to crush Kaido completely. 7 days after Kaido's defeat, he was declared one of the Yonko of the sea. With the territory that he holds in the form of Fishman Island and possibly now Wano Country, along with countless allies across the sea, Luffy certainly deserves his title as one of the Yonko. He has a bounty of 3 billion berries. Blackbeard. Just like Buggy, Blackbeard was once one of the Shichibukai. After the events of the Paramount War, where he killed Whitebeard and acquired his devil fruit power, Blackbeard took to the New World and slowly started expanding his dominion. Over the 2 years, he defeated countless pirates and expanded his territories by taking over what belonged to Whitebeard once. Shortly after, he fought against Marco and the remaining Whitebeard commanders in a war known as the Grudge War. By defeating them in an overwhelming fashion, Blackbeard established himself as one of the Yonko. He received a bounty of 2.247 billion berries, which he still holds to this day. He has 2 devil fruit powers under his belt, making him the only person in history to be able to do so. With the strongest of the Logia type and the strongest of the Paramecia type, Blackbeard has declared himself to be invincible. Furthermore, his quest for strength has not stopped yet. In the New World, he is continuously hunting powerful devil fruits for his crewmates and possibly for even himself. Blackbeard is still growing and will, in the future, be one of the strongest characters to ever live. Shanks. Out of all the new Yonko, Shanks is officially the oldest one. He rose to this position 6 years prior to the current events of the story. When Shanks met Luffy and gave him the straw hat, he wasn't a Yonko at the point. It was 6 years after that incident that he rose to this position. Despite being young, Shanks holds tremendous strength, and even though he has lost his dominant arm, he is still strong enough to be considered among the mightiest pirates in the world. Shanks does not have any devil fruit power. Instead, he relies on his haki in battle. It is believed that his Conqueror's haki is especially powerful, as it was praised on several occasions by the likes of Diamond Jozu and even Whitebeard himself. He wields a blade known as Griffin, and it most likely ranks among the supreme grade swords of the One Piece world. Shanks' crew, the red-haired pirates, are known to be the most balanced pirate crew out there with no particular weaknesses. All his officers are said to have high bounties, which makes them a threat to even the world government. Shanks himself has a bounty of 4.048 billion berries, which is nothing short of staggering for someone who rose to this position just 6 years ago. His full power hasn't been seen just yet, however, with the story entering its final saga, the time for him to shine is now. One Piece. Who will have the higher bounty between Zoro and Sanji? The monster trio consists of 3 of the strongest fighters in the Straw Hat crew. The trio consists of Monkey D. Luffy, who is the captain of the crew, Roronoa Zoro, a swordsman, and Sanji, who is the cook. All three of them are extremely powerful characters, who are capable of a lot of destruction without any problems. It is quite obvious that Luffy is the strongest member of the entire crew, and there is a huge gulf of difference between him and the rest. They cannot compete with Luffy's strength. On the other hand, Zoro and Sanji are closer in terms of strength. Zoro is undoubtedly stronger than Sanji, but only by a small margin. This small difference has been highlighted several times in One Piece, such as the doriki of the opponents that they fought at Enies Lobby. Zoro's opponent Kaku had a doriki of 2,200, while Sanji's opponent Jobra's doriki was 2,180. In the Wano Country arc, Robin called both Sanji and Zoro the wings of the Pirate King. Furthermore, their final opponents in the Wano Country arc almost had the same bounty. King's bounty is 1,390,000,000 Barris, while Queen sits on a bounty of 1,320,000,000 Barris. For the majority of the series, Zoro has had the higher bounty, but after the events of the Whole Cake Island arc, Sanji's bounty supplanted Zoro's. Now, with the Wano Country arc coming to an end, the question regarding the bounty of the two Straw Hats looms. Respective feats in Wano, Sanji and Zoro were heavily involved in all the action that took place in the Wano Country arc. Zoro went to the rooftop with Luffy and the other members of the Worst Generation. While on the rooftop, Zoro was heavily outclassed by the two Yonko. He tried to attack Kaido, who dodged the attack, then he tanked the combined attack of both the Yonko, and finally, he managed to cut Kaido, but the Yonko was almost unfazed. Kaido then proceeded to take Zoro out, and the latter had to be saved by Trafalgar Law. Once Law and Zoro arrived at the lower floors, Law handed over the badly wounded Zoro to Sanji. Sanji covered his compatriot with bandages and carried him around until they met Chopper. Zoro was in no condition to move, and fighting the strongest all-star was out of the question. So, he had to rely on the special medicine of Miyagi. After taking the medicine, Zoro was able to fight King, but for the most part, the all-star dominated the fight. Zoro eventually managed to overcome this hurdle and defeat King. With the fight over, Zoro was left in a state of agony, he could barely move, and he had to be saved again, and this time it was Frankie. On the other hand, Sanji was more impressive with his feats, and they go all the way back to the beginning of arc, where he rescued fellow Straw Hats from page 1. Then, during the raid, Sanji managed to rescue Momonosuke from the clutches of the Beast's pirates, who wanted to execute the future shogun of Wano. This rescue was very important because if Momonosuke had died, the alliance's morale would have been shattered. Sanji was captured and beaten up by Black Maria, but it was only because of Sanji's chivalry. Shortly after breaking free, Sanji had to carry and keep Zoro safe. While carrying Zoro, Sanji stumbled across Chopper, who was being attacked by Queen. Sanji could not let any kind of harm come to Chopper, so he intercepted Queen and kicked him away. As Chopper tried to heal Zoro, Sanji kept on fighting both King and Queen at the same time. Furthermore, when Otama arrived at the live floor, Sanji was the one who rescued her from the Beast's pirates. Finally, Sanji's biggest fight was against Queen, and the Straw Hat barely struggled and finished the All-Star without any difficulties. Possible bounties. On the basis of feats, Sanji was more impressive throughout the arc. He might not have fought the Yonko or King, but Zoro didn't really cause any problems for the Yonko. Through all his fights, Zoro was reliant on Enma's power. If he had not received the weapon, he would not have defeated King. While fighting Queen, Sanji's genetic modifications finally kicked in, and due to this reason, he didn't even require the raid suit to beat his opponent. Sanji's feats are clearly more remarkable, but Zoro has the edge due to fighting a higher caliber of opponents. It is extremely likely that Zoro will receive a higher bounty than Sanji because he fought the stronger enemies, even though he was not super impressive against them. However, there is a slight possibility that Sanji might have a higher bounty due to his connections to Germa 66, and since they are no longer affiliated with the world government, both Zoro and Sanji will have a bounty of over 1 billion Barris after Wano. Zoro's bounty would be around 1,500,000,000 Barris, and Sanji's bounty will be close to 1,450,000,000 Barris. Towards the end of the series, it is very likely that their respective bounties will be over 2 billion Barris. That's a wrap for this video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We'll be back with more amazing videos very soon.